We're here for another tip video. I know what you're thinking. What the font does he want to talk to me about this time? Well, that's just it. Fonts. I want to talk to you about fonts, how to install them, how to use them, but more importantly, how do we find the font that we actually want? Okay, I do a lot of design work, and one of the struggles that I have is often people will come up to me and say, hey, can you recreate this design? Finding particular fonts that people used can be challenging sometimes. Or if I see a font on a design and I say that would look great on my design, the new design I'm working on, how do I go about finding out what font that someone used? Okay, I'm going to cover that today. This video is going to be a little longer because I'm going to show you a couple extra things too. Like for instance, how to convert a picture from one format to another, and then how to install and use a font. So to set this up, I'm going to go ahead and open Word. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and create a blank document. I'll come back to this in a minute, so I'm just going to hide it for now. Alright, so here we go. Let's get started. If I go to Safari, I went ahead and went to Google Images and I typed in cool posters. Okay, so in this scenario, I'm trying to find a font that I like that I want to use in another document. Okay, I see this Cool to Be Kind one here. It's got two different fonts on it. The Cool and Kind is a font, and 2B is obviously a separate font. Now, before I show you this trick, I need you to understand something. Anytime I have another graphic that's close to or right on top of my fonts, it's harder to find that font. Okay, so if the graphics or the fonts right on top of each other, that makes it more difficult. Okay, because I get lines and stuff, and that's what I'm looking for. So some fonts are harder to find. Not impossible, just more difficult. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to click on the Cool to Be Kind. Then I'm going to right click here, and I'm going to say Save Image As. I'm going to put this on my desktop. I can click on desktop over here if it wasn't already selected. A lot of times it'll go to documents by default. I'm just going to give this the title of cool. I'm going to hit save. Now I can minimize this page, and I did that with Command H. Okay, but I'm going to minimize this page and find that document on my desktop. Since I'm using Stacks, which I covered in another tip video, you'll notice it's under Images, and here it is, cool.webp. Now, for this trick to work, the web.p image format won't work. I need it to be in JPEG, whether that's JPG or JPEG, or PNG file format. So how do we convert it? Super easy, and this works on pretty much all image documents. I'll just double click on it. It'll open in preview. I go up to File, Export. Now I'm presented the option to go ahead and save this again. Under the format, you notice I got PNG, JPEG or JPEG 2000, plus these other file formats. But JPEG and PNG are the big two. I'm going to keep it as PNG. If you had transparency in the document, PNG allows you to keep that, which is nice. So I'm going to choose PNG, make sure it's on my desktop. I'll leave the name cool. I'll just click save here. Okay, once that's done, I can quit this. So I'll go Apple quit or preview quit. Now I've got my two files. Just to make my life easier, I'm going to throw away the WebP, and I'm left with cool. Alright, so let's go back to our website, and this time I'm going to look for what the font. Okay, that's why I said that earlier. If you didn't pick up on that already, I'm going to go ahead and hit return. And my first option here is from myfonts.com, which is a font finder. What the font? I click that, and here I go. Now, notice I can type in a URL of a web page, so I can copy and paste the URL. I can upload an image by clicking this button, or I can just drag and drop. So if I was to slide this over to the left and drag, notice this allows me to drop that file format there. Or I can click this button here, the upload image, and I can find that picture on my desktop. So let's just go ahead and do that, and that will open. Now, this page will actually go ahead and try to guess what fonts you're looking for. Okay, so you notice cool is 1, 2, and here's B. Now, 2 is hard to select because this box is on top, so I'd have to move it over in order to select it. But this is what I was talking about earlier. So this is taking a picture of the font, right? Well, notice the box here goes over the 2 and the B. So if I try to select that font, that can be rather difficult because now I've got extra fonts that are in there that can throw the font off. So I'm going to choose kind in this way, this time. Now I can move these bounding boxes. If I hover my mouse over a corner, right, I can drag these out a little bit more. Okay. My mouse is wanting to be very finicky with me here. Super hypersensitive right now. Okay, so I'm going to just drag this box. There we go. I don't want to drag it up any higher just because I can get the 2 and the B. And I think this is close enough. I can get a pretty good guess what the font is. And I'm just going to choose Identify Font. This is going to take a few seconds to try to identify the font, and then I'll be presented with a few options to select from. If it doesn't work the first time, click it a second time. Should work a lot faster. There you go. Alright, so now you'll see the image and what's selected and the fonts that it tried to find. Now notice this isn't exactly right, so I can actually just scroll up and down here and look for fonts. Now this isn't 100% accurate. Sometimes it will find 100% the font that they used, but sometimes when they're designing things, they take a font and they tweak it, so it might not actually be the exact same font any longer. Okay. Plus, there could be other things. These are all this website is. Notice if you look, these are fonts you can purchase. But this Lovadelic Regular is pretty daggone close. It's not exact. The K doesn't end down here. Ends right at the I, but it looks like pretty daggone close if I'm being honest. So I'm going to select this. And notice this is a $14 font. Well, here's where the trick is. We're going to highlight the font name here, and I'm going to hit Command C, or you can go to Edit and go to Copy. I'm just going to open up a new tab. So you can go File, New Tab, or you can do the Command T. So these are your shortcut keys right here. Command T. Now I'm going to paste in that font name, and I'm just going to say Font Free. Alright, so now I'm presented with a bunch of different download sites. Now, you got to be careful what sites you go to. Sometimes when you go to a site, like this one gives me the font. This one's a buy font. I can go to a site and there might be a whole lot of download links and options that gets confusing. So here's download now. That may or may not actually be the right one. Now here's a download. So here's a download now. A lot of these are ads that you can click on. So look for a site that makes it a little bit more simple to use when you're doing this. I like this DaFont Style. This is one I'm kind of familiar with. So I'll click here. Notice download this font. Right there it is. I'll click download. It's going to give me an ad. I'm just going to hit close ad and the font downloads. Alright. So now I can go ahead and close out these pages here. I'll leave this open for a second and I'll just hide it. And now I can go down to my downloads folder and I see the zip file. I'm going to click on that to open it. I get this folder and now here are my fonts. Okay. Now I opened Word earlier. Why? Because I want to show you something. If I go here and I change my font size, let's make it really large, and I just say test, right? If I highlight this and I look and I go looking for Lovadelic, L-O-V, notice there isn't one. I don't have Lovadelic in here. So I'm going to hide this again, and I'm going to just double click on my font that I want to choose. Now, there are 3 different options. This one looks like it's more of a picture one. This one's bold, but notice my A, the center part of my A is missing here. I think it's overly done for me. I don't really like it. I'm just going to double click on this. This will bring up a font preview in Font Book. Okay. To install this, all I have to do is click Install, and it's done. I can do the same thing for these Love Extras and see if I want to do it. Now, see, these are all pictures. That's not going to help me. I'm just going to close this. Do the same thing with the Expand. I don't really like the way that looks either, so I'm just going to close that one as well. Alright, so my font's installed. I've installed Lovadelic. I can quit my font book. I can go back to Word. I can highlight it. Here we go. And now let's change this to Lovadelic. I'll go back to L-O-V and notice it's not there. Why isn't it there? Well, I just installed the font. Anytime you're using the application, you install a font, it won't show up in the application until you close it and reopen it. When you close it and then go to reopen it, it will rescan the font library and add those fonts in. So let's try that. I'm going to quit Word here. Go up to Word and quit. It's not enough just to close the document. I really do need to quit Word. So I'm going to hit cancel. Oops, should have hit delete on that one. Quit Word. Let's hit delete. I don't want to save that document. Now let's open it again. All right, let's create a new document. I'll do the same thing. Let's go here. Let's make a large test. Let's highlight this and let's look for my Lovadelic. Oh, there it is. Kind of hard to see, but there it is. There's Lovadelic. I can even type in my own font number here. I'll just click up there and I'll say 130. There. Alright, so now I have Lovadelic font in here. And you can see I can type that kind, and I can go here and type cool. And it's pretty similar to what I see in my picture file, right? So if I go back on this page here, there's cool and there's kind. It's not 100%. The C is not accurate, so maybe I do want to click on the C and see if I can get something a little closer. But it's pretty close. The O's are there, the L's there. It's just the C and the capital letters are the ones that are throwing me off. Okay, so that's a trick you can use to find a font and install it on your computer to use with any document. So now that you know that, you can go out there and find any font that you want, kind of explore that and use them in your own documents. And that's the tip for today. All right, have a good one.